we're already seeing some people saying that we're finding I'm already sleeping better. We see that in their expression in the chats that they're sleeping better. Today we're into the 6th day. Feels great. Certainly the calmness and positivity is there. But in our last 6 weeks program, more than 70% have said by the time they finish 6 weeks, they actually healed themselves of several conditions. Few said they're in the path of healing, but many of them, stress, depression, anxieties, insomnia, epilepsy in one case, of course, sugar, diabetes, either they're healing or they're healed. Body health is fundamental. In one of the sessions I was listening, Karthikeyan sir said, you can gain wealth, you can gain fame, you can gain every success, but body health is not there, then we don't exist. We know it, pretty obvious. This pandemic is showing that. We all came back to that, can I survive? And how do I survive? Everything else has been just put aside. We know that. The whole business function, or whatever goals, targets, marriages have been put off, your celebrations have been put off, everything has been put off. The only thing that is on the top of the mind is to be living and healthy. So we're going to learn the root cause of not having right health, and then how do we on a day-to-day basis, and how meditation is helping us gain that perfect, excellent health, energy, and performance today in our class. And I say that 90, depending on who is saying, between 90 to 95% of the body illnesses are based on stress, and then meditation is the mantra for the stress relief. Meditation is the mantra, which means we are gaining all that health back. The 95%, some say 95%, some say 90%, but whatever the percentage is based on, look at which study they're looking at it. But meditation is helping us completely relieve our stress. Let's go into our meditation. This meditation, if meditation is curing all the stress, and then if that means that we are gaining back our health by more than 95%, then why would we not go and spend that time? And that's also one of the core reasons why physical health more than 70% said, mental health more than 90% said they were healed. They're healing themselves in many ways during the, emotional health more than 90% said they're healing themselves in our last program. Relax yourself. We are going into a meditation. Now, one of the questions that we keep hearing, I think it may be helpful. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of thoughts common. My meditation, okay, so I went for 1 minute and then thoughts, 2 minutes, again thoughts, 1 minute, again thoughts. So I'm trying to see how do I increase this duration? How do I fix this? What do I do? I'm not able to do anything more than a minute. That is a very natural, normal state, and you want to completely let go of fixing that. We don't fix that. Accept that even after 20 years of meditation, it may be like that for you and for me, for many. It is a normal process of meditation. So you no longer worry about how do I make that emptiness duration to be as long as possible. Don't worry, because the moment you start worrying about it, or start thinking about it, or contemplating about it again and again, so that's not the part to contemplate, because that is common. The more you contemplate or think about it, the more it keeps coming up to you, and you can't let go. And then you will keep worrying again when the moment the thought comes in the meditation, oh, it came again. Make an intent, but accept the fact that we accept the fact that we eat every day. right? We sleep every day. Like that in meditation, accept the fact that thoughts will come every day. It can come every day. And when they come, our goal, we are so trained, we're becoming more and more self-aware that we're going to go back and then put observation on our breath. That's it. So it is a natural fact that I would want us to understand so that you don't latch on or hold on to that notion that, okay, I'm not going into the emptiness. This is a very important point that we all need to understand this, friends. So then we get free, we get relieved, get freed up. That feeling of love and gratitude, if that's tough for you, go into adventure. Where you're the only thing is that again you're either doing with the nature or with the people, right? Some adventure activity like trekking into some areas. Anything that you've done, I don't know, you've done some big event which you have not done before. You've done a travel to a remote place you've not before. That is your adventure, right? So visualize, recall the emotions or memories of those, how that adventure was like. At the end of the day, you felt so great about it, right? Move from this to the adventure if you're not able to do love and compassion, gratitude. No doubt, even though you may not see the energy, it's all energy science, pure quantum physics science. Our thoughts are energy, and what you think is what goes. So radiate that energy. Think about a set of people, or think about just this planet Earth because you're concerned about the condition of the environment of the Earth. Think about that everywhere, then the energy is there everywhere. You are there everywhere. And the breath mindfulness meditation, we talked about it. We don't worry about it anymore if I'm getting thoughts. The only thing we know is to go back and observe the breath. My guidance is secondary, music is secondary. You need to be just with the breath is as much as was primary. If you can latch on to my guidance, it's fine. Thank you very much for all the senior masters, meditators who are joining us back and are making this so energetic for many of the beginners, this meditation. It's a great combination to have. I know at least 30% of us are those regularly practiced for a long time or in the previous sessions. And certainly several newcomers who have joined today, welcome for this 6 weeks mindfulness program. Yes, Premji, we are going to go to the class. You have a question? You're saying something? Yes.
Karthikeyanji, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Chandraji, it's a wonderful time what I spent here. I just want to say to my co-travelers, because we are all here sitting here, we are all co-travelers on a journey and going to our enlightenment, that it is not only 1 hour, 1.5 hours we sit here. It is the 24 hours. We have to every day, we have to live with ourselves, with me, with myself. And that is what it is. Be aware of every moment. And this peace, this emptiness, this we can keep it. It has to be tried only. And you can keep it the whole day, the whole moments you are with you. Only you are with yourself. No one else. You are with yourself. And you have to just learn and practice this. Keeping this, Chandra has given us a very unique method. These are all tested methods by our rishis, and they really work. You have to just go on with this. Just go on with this. Self-empty the whole day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Premji. Thank you. Yes, as we practice for the next 6 weeks and make it a habit, and then we will extend our ability to continue it for the rest of the day. And it happens when we improve in every aspect of our body, physical body, mental body, intellect, and our spiritual quotient. We have to enhance all of that. We expand all of that. Then it becomes very natural that to be in that state. So let's go in a little deeper into the physical aspect of it today. Stress is the number one reason that we all have read. Now, stress means being in the unsupported, lower emotions in a sustained fashion for continuous time, and then have the body be in that, have that body in a very heightened adrenal state all the time. Now, there is good stress and the bad stress. Everything that's given in the body is there is a good function, right? So we can never say some part of it is not required. We can never say anger is not required, or feeling low is not required. Everything is required to experience the duality. The beautiful nature of this reality is that there is duality. So we need to experience, and so you need to have this to experience the other one, right? When ugliness is seen, then you know what beauty is. When something is not tasty, a sabji today, a curry tomorrow, when it's tasty, you can express it. So everything is required, but everything is required in moderation. The same way, there is a good stress and a bad stress. Good stress, the whole adrenal system, that cortisol chemicals, those are some of them are required, designed so that we can protect ourselves. Like the caveman. If you are walking, we are not in a caveman and ice age now time, but it is required when you have to protect ourselves intensely. The good stress is that where we go into a heightened state to protect ourselves. So you are walking, and then suddenly a neighbor's dog, whatever the dog is that is walking to along with a neighbor, just chasing at you. What do? When that is chasing at you, then suddenly our body goes into this heightened state of awareness. And there's immediately that amygdala responds to it. We get frightened, of course, depending on how frightful or fearful you are, but if not fearful also still, because this animal is coming at you, right? So then immediately we have to do one of the two things. Either you have to fight it or you have to run away. Two things you have to do. So the body is aware of it. The moment you go into that mode, then immediately the signals are sent from the body. I'm simplifying. Signals are sent to the various systems to say, first, of course, our heart rate pumps up, right? The heart start pumping more because we don't know what it's going to do to you, right? Suddenly it's chasing at you. So the adrenal is pumped, these heightened hormones are pumped. There is something called cortisol that is pumped, which is required to do, these hormones are required to do two things. One, it has to increase blood circulation into your head, hands, and legs so that you have the capability to fight, a capability to run. Two, it also increases the vision. It dilates the pupils where it allows you to go into a real vision where it doesn't let you distract. No, normal vision is you can see all over. But in a stressful situation, the body is automatically making a vision so clear, that so focused, it is just putting it right in front of the target. So you don't get distracted from this way, that way. It's very intelligent body. It's doing that, but it's good stress. So because of that, now you got the capability to either fight or run away. Depending on the situation, you're going to make a decision, but you do one of these two. And body is supporting. It's good. Now when the neighbor tames it, and then the dog is cooled down, so you also cool down. It takes a couple of minutes to bring back a lot of this status back. But then during this process, there's chemicals that are dumped into the body, including the cortisol that has been there, tremendous amount of cortisol. Cortisol is a dreaded chemical. It is required to protect like this, but at the same time, it has a lot of harming effects. You can't have it for too long. And then every time you go into this state, it takes hours for the body to come back to a normal state from these chemicals, all the chemical residue states. It is said that over 1,200 different chemicals dump into the body during this situation. But they take time to residue back. Now it's fine. Normal, we are protected. We know how to protect our body when this happens. When the cortisol is going in, when adrenal is raising, cortisol is going in, okay, heart rate is beating up. So this normal is fine. But then in our modern time right now, we have so much of memories and worries that we carry in our offices. So many of memories and worries that we are carrying. You suppose you had an argument, you had a discussion, altercation with your manager about the raise, about a project. You had an argument with your colleague because they raised an issue that you didn't like. You have arguments with your spouses at home. So when you had that argument, it should end typically there, ideally there. So you had that intense discussion, which you didn't like at all, with your manager. Then you're coming out. Then in the afternoon, you're at the lunch table, you are sitting with your friends, you're reliving that experience. So when you are doing this experience with your manager, already your adrenaline is risen, cortisol is pumped up, you didn't really like it, you are angry. But then the same thing, you go back and then relive with your friend again during the lunch table. You relive. You come back home, you relive again. Now, when people relive an incident, they relive it 50% more. So every time you relive, you're reliving that emotion, and you're causing that thing to go into your brain and then produce more of that cortisol, more of that, all that chemicals come down to the body, and then you are being in that heightened state. Now, what happens when you're in a heightened state? It is what is happening. The body, so intelligent, knows that in order to pump that extra blood into your legs and hands when you are in this heightened awareness mode, it has to draw that energy from somewhere. It has to conserve it. It's like focus. When you're on a mission, you're on one thing, you put all your energy on that and you take attention off of other things, right? That's exactly what happens. It shuts off in our body, of the 7 systems, it shuts off most of the systems that are not necessary at that point for it to protect itself. So which means it is shutting off your digestive system, it is shutting off your sexual gland system, shutting off your pineal pituitary gland systems. Everything is shut off except the adrenal system, maybe thalamus, which is the heart system. These are there because you have to pump the blood and increase your heightened awareness, but that's it. And because it's shutting off the digestive system, for example, all kinds of problems. When people are under stress, ulcers and acidity and indigestion, everything is there. All the reason 95% of the problems that are stress is because now you understand that all the systems are shut off except what is most needed. The only 2-3 things are needed: pump the blood actively into your hands and legs, and then eyesight, make it as focused as possible. And then there is a third one, release some chemicals so that your body can taste poorly. So if it is an animal, then it sort of feels it and then goes away if it all is enough is produced. So as a result, because we are shutting off all the systems, we start falling ill because we are not letting the body function. Now, if it is only for a couple of minutes, no problem. But when we are carrying these stressful, anxious, negative thoughts and we're reliving them again and again and again, then friends, we are maintaining a body in a sustained, heightened mode with lots of continued cortisol into the body. And as a result, we are continuously having most of our body system shut off. It very clearly explains why when we are carrying that negative thought, when we are carrying that deep-rooted grief, when somebody close passes away, then we carry that grief for months and months. And when we carry that, then what are we doing? We are reliving, we are taking the body into the stressful mode. When you're taking the body into the stressful mode, then you're shutting off, and then we're doing so much disservice to ourselves because the health deteriorates quite a bit. When you have this when you feel that I'm out of control, when you feel out of control of the situations, then your anger bursts. When your anger is coming up, then you're going up into the stress mode. And slowly, because of that, people comment on you. Then slowly you'll go into depression because you're not able to control your anger. You're going into the depression. We are going to the depression at that point. And because I don't have control, then then we go into the addictions. As we don't have control of the life, then we're getting stressful. As we're carrying that thought, then we are doing disservice to the body. So number one reason, dear friends, when we negative tough situations of life again and again, we are creating those temperaments, we are creating their moods, because by reliving them again and again, and as a result, we are keeping ourselves in a high stress mode, heightened mode, and shutting off all systems. So the moment we remove that, so meditation, the moment meditation is removing that, then we are done. When meditation removes all the negative thoughts, all the stressful thoughts, anxious thoughts, slowly, as you practice, then no longer that cortisol is living, no longer you're going into the anxious modes. You're only going into that mode when a dog is there chasing at you, or suddenly, maybe there is a building rattling, maybe that time only, but then you come back to normal composure mode, it's fine, but not otherwise. Reason, immediately as soon as people start meditating, their body health in general improves is because of this. When you are stressful, insomnia, no digestion, how can we sleep? Right? No digestion, you can't sleep. Insomnia. So things go immediately down. Of course, there are a few conditions that come from the past and which will have to slowly change. So if we are an executive, we cannot afford. If you are a business professional, if you are a mother with young children, dependent people, a lot of dependent on you, can't afford to fall sick for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It impacts careers, right? We all know it. If you are going away, it's tough. If you're going away from work, it is tough. If you are a leader, it is even more tough. And many times we exhaust leave, and then you have to drag yourself to work when you're not well. I know how it feels. It's miserable, right? You got to work when you're not well. So meditation, friends, is completely taking the stress off. And then our body health is improving, number one. Number two, meditation is lowering the thought frequency and taking us into relaxed states. Right? It's taking us to relaxed states. When you're taking us to relaxed states, then body, you're allowing it to repair itself quite well, isn't it? So that's what happens in deep sleep. We talked about it briefly. The REM sleep, when we go in, where we are then repairing the body. We are giving it time to repair the body. Right? If a car is running all the time, then where is the time for it to repair? There's no time, right? You don't have time. You got to stop it sometime. Then the mechanic has to work on it to repair and maintain it. So the maintenance happens in deep sleep, the REM sleep. And the meditation is taking us to the REM sleep state faster. REM sleep is, I told you yesterday, nothing but it is in that delta waves. Beta to alpha to theta and delta waves. So we go into the delta wave sometimes because it's taking us into the theta state, and theta to delta is just a moment away, and it just slips into that state pretty quickly. And so we improve our body health significantly, right? This another thing that body health is, of course, is this anti-aging that I'll talk about separately, but our body gets better and better and better. We produce certain chemicals, we extend certain aspects of genes, and as a result, anti-aging. Meditators are looking glowing. They're becoming anti-aging. So 50 to 60 to 70, they're all still looking great. When you don't carry the stress, and when you are in general are with meditative practices. Cut cancer. I was surprised when Sarah was celebrating. Octogenarian, I guess, but then great. I mean, if SAR can travel because of such a perfect health every week in so many places, I had seen him travel one day here, one day there, at that age, all by himself. Many people at 60 want assistance to travel with them. Anti-aging, it's there. When we keep ourselves off stress, when we regularly meditate, anti-aging. Now, health, another important reason how we become very healthy is As we enhance our knowledge, as we expand our knowledge, and then change from the beliefs, change our beliefs, our thought patterns, we're increasing the body energy and body vibration. If the thought pattern is that my hereditary controls the systems and hereditary, I've got this diabetes because hereditary. I got this blood pressure because hereditary. My family, everybody has some kind of, this gout, and as a result, I'm also going to get the gout. In the moment, that's how you think. I've got this, I'm always unlucky person. As a result, my immunity is weak by in general. I'm unlucky, so I don't get anything. When you have these kind of systems, and they lower the vibration of our body. When you're changing the beliefs over a period, when you change the beliefs and through this process, for example, we understand that epigenetics is telling 94% of the genes are reprogrammable. 94% of the genes are reprogrammable. Bruce Lipton, we must read this book called Biology of Belief. When you understand that, oh, okay, there's nothing called hereditary, so I can change, I can reprogram. Bruce Lipton and then many others discovered that for the cell membrane is the key thing, not the nucleus. Our organs are made up of cells. The cell membrane is the key, and then it is all receiving information through the cell membrane. Its environment is influencing it. And what they found is that you took out the cell membrane, the cell died immediately. But they took out the nucleus, the cell didn't die. And what they found, the cell membrane was responding to the environment. And so if they change the thought of a person, if somebody is meditating, and then they reprogram the belief system from I'm weak to I'm strong, then the cell is receiving that. And the cell membrane receives that information that I'm strong, I'm healing myself. That is a positive statement it receives. And then it is going and then triggering a different aspect of the gene. The genes are producing new set of proteins. In landmark study they did, when they did a study on 5,000 executives, just about 2 weeks later in my mindfulness practices, instead of executives, when they did this study, they saw that these executives expressed 5,000 new genes in about 2 weeks. With mindfulness practices, they slowed down and they lowered the volume of the thought, and so they stopped reliving that, okay, I'm not this, I'm not able to grow the business and this and that. So they stopped reliving their past habits and memories, and so they start expressing 5,000 new genes. When I say expression, a gene is expression for producing a new protein. A protein to make either repair a new cells of the skin, new cells of the liver, new cells of the brain neurons, or whatever, right? But it is producing protein to generate new cells. It's also producing antibodies. The T cells, all of that which are there, one is there as a protective to find out if there's any bad cell in the body, and then antibodies go and kill it. Both aspects are there. It's producing many of these. So there is some deep science around it, that it is needless to say, enough to say that when we meditate, one, we are reducing stress, and then two, we are expanding our consciousness. That's why it's so important to expand our knowledge about these concepts. It becomes so clear if you read Biology of Belief that you say, my health is in my hand, not in anybody's hand, and I'm the one who is causing good or not so good health. So that's on the health. Our health is becoming fundamentally better and better and better. Then energy. Do you feel that halfway through, by the time it becomes 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in office, you're getting stressed, you're getting weakened, not enough energy? We are in this global setting right now. Mornings and evenings and night times, we got to do the calls. 16 hours a day. Are you participating in the calls, or the meetings are just happening as, okay, you're no longer productive meetings. By the time 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock comes, the no meeting. Meetings are not productive. If you're starting your shift later, maybe it's productive. But if you are doing from morning to night, it's not productive. Energy. We need to carry energy in the body, fundamentally. How is energy coming into the body? 3 things. There are many, many reasons. But if you look at 3 things. 1, sleep. We got to have sleep, right? That's where you're repairing the body. Meditation is greatly improving the sleep mechanism, optimizing the sleep. Second, conservation of energy due to the reduction in thoughts. That 60, 70, 80,000 thoughts, if you are a lot more anxious, then maybe you're having 90,000 thoughts. And then all of them coming down so quickly. So you conserve so much of energy. It's a perfect science of conservation of energy and then enhancement of energy. Meditation is science of energy maximization, you know. The third one, optimal food intake. So we improve our sleep. We improve our energy because we are saving. Now, when I say saving energy, what are we doing? It's not just thought reduction. When those 80% thoughts are negative, when they go away, that means you're no longer becoming angry the way you used to become. They no longer become reactive they used to become. The moment you become angry and reactive, what happens? You burst out. And every time you burst out, so much body energy is gone, right? If you shout at the top of the voice, you feel drained very soon, isn't it? We lose out so much energy. So not only thought energy, thoughts means it's leading to your words and deeds, and those also curtailed. Unnecessary words and deeds curtailed. So significant energy is conserved just by reducing the thought, right? So let me see, in terms of sleep, I want to just show this slide. How does it, 1 second. Okay, so this, how meditation is impacting energy, sleep. This is, I want you to focus on the right side, right? You know, this is our brain. There is this analytical mind I talked about, and the top one, this part is the above the analytical mind is the conscious mind right now, and then below is the subconscious mind. Unconscious, subconscious, both are there inside here. Not the medical term unconscious, but in a meditation terms. Now, our brain waves are normally right now we are at high beta and beta. So we are in the beta state right now, the lowest form of beta, where we are very actively, receptively listening to us, which is called wakeful state, active wakeful states. These two are beta and high beta. When we are in stressful mode, we are in the high beta. You know, the waves are there. Now, wakeful relaxation, as meditation is doing, it's going down and reducing the frequency of the thought, number of thought and frequency of thought too. So it's taking us into this wakeful relaxation at alpha, and then going into the deep REM sleep states as we're going to the delta. Theta is a very, 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 very reactive creative state, right? And then you go further deep, you go into the dreamless sleep, which is the REM sleep too. Now, sleep, as I said yesterday, the REM sleep is here, this delta, somewhere between this delta and theta, this area is the REM sleep. So when we're going to sleep, when we're going to the 90-minute cycle, where we don't have dreams deep, that's where the maximum body is repairing itself. And they found out that REM sleep state is almost pretty much similar to the meditative state. It is not really, body is not really shut off. It is doing various things, apparently, during that time. But meditation is also taking us to that state. So this is why meditation is increasing the sleep state, because meditation is lowering, when you are in this high beta state, you can't fall off to sleep. And the sleep requires us to be in the theta and delta states, and meditation is taking us to that state quite readily. And just the way equivalent to sleep, when the sleep is taking you there, so meditation is also taking you there readily. And because it lowers the volume, and then I talked about a chemical called melatonin, right? The second one, sleep is improved and more by three things. One is reduced stress as a cortisol. Second, heightened melatonin level and pineal gland. Third is the lower thought frequency of brain into alpha and beta. Because of these three, one gets a nice, good sleep. Those who sleep less will sleep more. Those who sleep more will sleep less. Those who can't go deep sleep, they'll sleep nicely. All right. Now sleep is optimized. So like I said, I've gained anywhere between 3 to 5 hours of sleep depending on the day. But I clearly gained. I'm generally sleeping for 4 hours. I have healed myself of a condition that I had. When I changed my belief that Doctors told me I had this bent nasal condition. Let me top this slide. Doctors told me I had this bent nasal condition. But then through meditation, I stopped taking medication once I understood that I heal myself. I shifted my attention onto not what we don't want, and then reprogrammed myself by understanding this health aspect. And as a result, I stopped any medication of the ENT condition, which is not life-threatening, but is important for my career to grow. So health is one. Energy is based on sleep. Sleep is conserved. Second, conservation of energy by lowering the thoughts, and as a result, so much energy is saved. And also, because thought is reduced, and as a result, our words and actions also reduce. So we are conserving significant amount of energy. And the third one is the optimal food intake. Meditation is reducing the cravings for everybody. More than 90% said I'm becoming very mindful of eating, and then I stop taking more. When we are anxious, when we are in this anxious states, then we eat more, right? When we are under stress, we eat more because that's where the body automatically goes. Somewhere we have to fill it up. So we're eating more. So, but the food intake becomes very optimal. When the food intakes become very optimal, our digestion becomes very easy, right? Because stress is impeding digestive system on one side. So we said stress allowing the body to function naturally. So it start gaining its best. And then your food intake is come down because you're very mindful and aware. And as a result, you've got a perfect system going. You're reducing cravings because again, you whenever we feel lack of control and then we're going into these anxieties and all that, then you're sort of going and then eating more, the cravings are becoming less. You stop doing things for others. And so food intake becomes very optimal, and as a result, easy digestion, increased absorption in the body. Increased absorption because everything is working so greatly. And many people go into de-addiction very easily with meditation. You know that addiction requires the dose of serotonin that have to be put in. They have to put in the serotonin, the two chemicals called GABA and serotonin, when we have addiction, to get over this addiction. And then when people have to get over the depression, you got to put in some of these chemicals that get produced generously with meditation. They get produced generously with zero side effect. It's like filling the gas tank. Meditation, there is no over effect. Gas tank, you fill a gas tank, use some, then you go back and fill, right? We now make it zero. So it's filling a gas tank. So meditation is constantly filling your gas tank of all the serotonin, dopamine. It's lowering your amygdala center, so fears go down and then stress goes down. But these chemicals that are required are plenty produced, like a gas tank, constantly keep it full. So as a result, we don't have the craving. We don't feel the requirement to addict to an alcohol and drugs and all that, because you're getting plenty of that to feel good. What is the drug is for? To feel good. You lack control in life. Many people who go into service sector lack control because they constantly push to work, right? 24 hours they have to work. They don't know how to stop. They never learn to say no. Because you live for society, you can never say no, and as a result, bring it on to you. So you feel like, my life is not in my control. I'm sure, understand many people here may be feeling that. You can't even give time for your family. It's one thing to enjoy what you do, great, you're doing absolutely fine. But it's another thing to, because you don't have control, to fall back on maybe that alcohol. I'm not saying it is wrong. Definitely, I don't say anything is wrong. Everything is in moderation, except we can't kill animals. We can't kill somebody. We can't put violence onto someone, interfere into somebody's lives. Those things we can't do. No violence, no killing, no interference into someone's lives. Everything else, meditation is taking care. This addiction cannot be there. Yes, you're enjoying for something temporary, modest is anything is there, but not addictions. And addictions come because we feel lack of control. And meditation is helping us take the right food intake, including anything that we are taking into the body. All the addictions will go away. We know some other people who have completely de-addicted themselves maybe meditating with us here. But it happens, friends. It's absolutely great dose of chemical. It's a great tool for us to get perfectly healthy, and then great energy in the body. And talking about food intake, I would like to close. Plant-based diet is fundamental for us to have the best of the body. The various reasons for it. Maybe one of the sessions we'll talk about it for 5 minutes. But plant-based diet, I became a vegetarian. I used to eat non-vegetarian for 5 times a day, 5 times a week. I was such a non-vegetarian, hardcore non-vegetarian. My whole family was like that. Because we were raised to believe that that's the way. Non-vegetarian is the way. I mean, we were raised to believe it became a social status to eat non-veg. But I'm sorry, but that's not, ever since I understood, and then I became vegetarian in 2002, I think one of the reasons why I'm not taking any medication and I don't fall sick. And then if you fall sick, you have the strength to heal yourself. And many of the participants here also are already doing that, right? You heal yourself is because one is that we go into plant-based diet. When we go into plant-based diet, apart from compassion, which is fundamental reason, the non-violence, non-killing, non-interference of somebody's lives. When I said during that heart elevation session that every living being is here for its own experience, we're all here trying to experience ourselves. So nobody is given the right to have somebody's life taken in any circumstance, except only when we have to protect ourselves. Only when we have to protect ourselves, no other time. And those moments of protecting ourselves become less and less and lesser when we become more and more and more and more divine, more and more godly. When we start living to a purpose, the protecting ourselves become less and less. We will understand this over a period, but it is so. It is so. So, dear friends, we will learn about the performance aspect in the next class on Friday, how meditation is boosting significant amount of performance for us. Health itself is performance. We have good health, significant amount of performance is there, right? So not performance. So health and energy are two important things for performance. The third one is memory. So physical quotient tremendously improves with meditation. Intelligent quotient tremendously improves. We'll learn about this on Friday. So with that, I request Ramni sir to provide any comments if sir is there. Before we close the session.
Chandra?
Yes, sir.
It was yet another wonderful session. Apart from giving us this 60 to 70 minutes of intense meditation, the way you sum up so much of information in this 20-25 minutes, I hope all these things will find a place in your newsletter. It's so important, the way you stressed on cortisol and how it adds on to the stress. And you are talking about the plant-based diet, and there has been a small reference to that. When people shift to vegetarianism, one of the reasons what they say is, we are walking on the road, suddenly a lorry or something comes and bangs the horn close to us, we get a feel. It's a shock-like thing. It's all because the cortisol is secreted in huge amounts in our body. And that is the whole reason. Now, when we go to see, sometimes when we get a very bad opportunity of seeing a slaughterhouse, when an animal is taken to a slaughterhouse, animals do have an intuition. They know that they're going to be killed. The next, perhaps a few minutes, going to be killed. And it will resist itself till the last. And the moment the cutting happens, huge amount of cortisol is secreted in the animal's body. Huge amounts. I mean, something you can't imagine. It is 100 times what is secreted in human body. Huge amounts of cortisol is secreted in the animal's body. And these cortisol, these steroids, they get stuck to the various muscles. And that is what we eat when we non-plant-based food. So there's a very strong reason to say why one should avoid, because you're just straight away taking cortisol, you're eating cortisol, something which is not good for you at all. It is loaded in the muscles of the animal. So one has to think in terms of a plant-based sattvic food. It is something which is meant for human beings. You beautifully said, every living creature has to live its life, enjoy the life. You have no right to go and cut it off in between. Thank you so much, Chandra. It is a very, very wealthy, it's in so many ways, introducing us to meditation, introducing us to these kind of concepts. Wonderful. I think I keep on thanking DRKG as an SUV sir for introducing us to this. Thank you so much, Chandra. We are all obliged to you.
Thank you, sir. Friends, that's Padma Shri Dr. Ramani sir, plant-based diet and the importance of it. We can't have my pet is great and we can't kill something else on the plate. We can't eat something else. Why do you have a pet for your own self? Yes, sir, go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Well, the last word has been said by Dr. Ramani so beautifully. Right food at the right time and right quantity is the recipe for healthy living. And meditation, of course, that way you explained so beautifully. It's a preventive medicine, also therapeutic medicine. It's a cure for all is medication. Beautifully said. Lot of learning, lot of sharing. I'm sure after hearing this, even those who have been eating meat all these days will give it up at least from today. That way, they will earn the gratitude of millions of animals which are being killed unnecessarily and also harming themselves and harming the environment. That's a story by itself. There's a lot of scientific studies to show how if the whole planet, everybody becomes vegetarian, this global warming will come down much more than the damage caused by the fuel on the roads and all that. Thank you very much. Beautiful day.
Thank you, sir. That's great summarization, sir. Yes, absolutely. And I'll also, friends, in one of the sessions, we'll talk about in our manifestations. Because we're so connected in our manifestations, others, including animals, is making a role, creating a role in manifestations too. So there is intricacies of this too. We'll mention that when we talk about it. But so thank you all and have a great day.